Some stories are whispered in the shadows, passed from one generation to the next like forbidden knowledge. A ship that disappeared into thin air. A military experiment that defied the laws of physics. Men who were teleported or worse, fused into steel. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you it might have actually happened? They called it a hoax. They called it science fiction. But beneath the veil of ridicule lies a trail of classified files, vanished witnesses, and an experiment that was never meant to be remembered. Welcome back to the Unknown Archive. Today, we open the files on one of the most chilling urban legends in military history, the Philadelphia experiment. The story begins in 1943, in the heart of World War II. The United States Navy was desperate for an edge, anything that could help them win the war. Radar was changing the face of naval warfare, and the Navy knew that if they could make a ship invisible to radar, they could dominate the seas. That's when whispers began about an experiment at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. An experiment that would change everything. The USS Eldridge, a newly commissioned destroyer escort, was reportedly the subject of this bizarre test. According to claims, the Navy wanted to use powerful electromagnetic fields to bend light around the ship, effectively making it invisible to enemy radar. But the results, if true, were far more terrifying than anyone anticipated. October 28, 1943. That's the date burned into conspiracy lore. According to eyewitnesses and later accounts, the Eldridge was fitted with experimental equipment and generators designed to manipulate magnetic fields. As the machinery powered up, a greenish-blue haze engulfed the ship, and then it vanished, not just from radar, from sight. Some claim the ship reappeared minutes later, miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, before vanishing again and returning to Philadelphia. Others say it was gone for much longer. But what truly horrified the few who witnessed the aftermath were the men on board. When the Eldridge reappeared, chaos followed. Sailors were found screaming, disoriented, some driven mad by the experience. Others were reportedly fused into the bulkheads of the ship. Arms, legs, even entire torsos embedded in solid metal, as if they had been teleported into the wrong dimension. A few vanished entirely, never to be seen again. Time, space, matter, none of it seemed to behave the way it should have. The Navy, of course, denies everything. They insist no such experiment took place. They say the USS Eldridge was never in Philadelphia on that date, that the ship's logs disprove all claims. They call it a fabrication, a myth fueled by unreliable witnesses and science fiction. But let's rewind. Where did the story really come from? The legend of the Philadelphia experiment began to gain traction in the 1950s, when a man named Carl Allen, also known by the alias Carlos Allende, sent a series of letters to researcher Morris K. Jessup. Allen claimed he had witnessed the Eldridge vanish and teleport in 1943, and he referenced advanced theories about unified field physics, concepts popularized by none other than Albert Einstein. He even mentioned strange glowing lights, electrical surges, and the sudden disappearance of the ship, descriptions that hinted at technology far beyond the understanding of the time. Jessup, a respected author who had written extensively about UFOs, became obsessed with the claims. The letters were bizarre, disjointed, and filled with references to government cover-ups, alien technology, and secret science. Yet Jessup took them seriously. So seriously, in fact, that the Office of Naval Research allegedly got involved. They even produced a special annotated copy of Jessup's book, filled with handwritten notes from supposed insiders who knew the truth. These annotations suggested that alien intelligence had been guiding human scientific progress and that the Navy had already made contact with such entities. The involvement of the Navy only fueled the conspiracy. Why would they pay attention to such outlandish claims if there was no truth to them? Why invest time and resources into a fringe manuscript unless something in it struck a nerve? Then there's the strange fate of Morris Jessup himself. In 1959, he was found dead in his car in a Florida park, engine running, a hose from the exhaust pipe pumping carbon monoxide into the cabin. Officially, it was ruled a suicide. But those close to him claimed he was on the verge of uncovering something huge, something that could expose the government's deepest secrets. Some believe he was silenced, his death staged to look like just another tragedy. But for those who had followed his work, It was the final warning. The truth comes at a price. And that's where this story takes an even darker turn. Because if the Philadelphia experiment did happen, it suggests the US military was experimenting with technologies decades ahead of their time, possibly even technologies that could alter time and space. The core of the theory is based on the unified field theory, an idea proposed by Einstein that aimed to merge electromagnetism and gravity into a single framework. Einstein never completed the theory, but some claim the Navy secretly weaponized a working version of it. Think about that. The ability to bend space-time, to cloak objects, to teleport matter. These aren't just science fiction fantasies. They're real possibilities according to modern physics. And if the government had access to such tech in the 1940s, what do they have now? There are even claims that the Philadelphia experiment was the precursor to Project Montauk, an alleged series of government time travel and mind control experiments conducted on Long Island in the 1980s. If true, it suggests a secret lineage of black projects connected by a single terrifying goal, the manipulation of reality itself. But here's the kicker. Some former crew members of the USS Eldridge have come forward, stating that nothing unusual ever happened. They claim the ship was never in Philadelphia, and that the story is pure fiction. So who do we believe? Eyewitnesses who risked their reputations to share what they saw, or a government with a long track record of hiding the truth, from MKUltra to Operation Paperclip to classified UFO encounters? The Eldridge itself was later transferred to the Greek Navy in 1951 and renamed the Leon. It served until the 1990s before being decommissioned and scrapped. But what happened aboard that ship in 1943? That secret may have been dismantled along with its hull. So, was the Philadelphia experiment real? Or was it an elaborate hoax, born from paranoia and post-war science fiction? The evidence is murky. The official story doesn't add up. And the witnesses, well, some of them never spoke again. But one thing's certain. The idea of governments experimenting with reality is not as far-fetched as it once seemed. Invisibility cloaks, quantum teleportation, even time manipulation, today, they're the focus of legitimate research. So ask yourself, if these concepts are possible now, who's to say they weren't tested then? Let us know what you think in the comments. Could there be truth buried beneath the conspiracy? Or is this just another case of science gone mad in the pages of urban legend? Thanks for watching The Unknown Archive. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, some legends are born from lies, but others are built from the truth we were never meant to see.